just better. Okay, that one's going on the list of products I need to figure out how to get in the US. A couple months ago, I went on a mother-daughter trip to Edinburgh, Scotland. It was both of our first times and we had a blast. But one thing that I did not expect to be a highlight of the trip was shopping at Superdrug. Honestly, it was more than I could have ever imagined. I was fully expecting just like a wall of makeup as the beauty section, kind of like how we have here in, say, a Walgreens, but oh my gosh, y'all have it so much better in the UK than we do here in the US in terms of drugstore makeup shopping. Not only was the beauty section absolutely massive, but almost every product had testers. Testers for drugstore makeup. Apparently the UK is not as generous when it comes to makeup returns as we are here in the US, which is why they offer testers for everything. Wow, what a concept. They also offer beauty services inside Superdrug, and they sell high-end like designer fragrances. I was getting pretty overwhelmed actually. But I did pick up a handful of UK makeup that caught my eye. I'm gonna try them all for the first time here with you on camera. Let's see if we should petition any of these products to come over to the US. If you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. I love creating budget beauty content. I've been doing it here on YouTube since 2012, but I'm so glad you found me today. Let's get into it. Okay, just so you're aware, so you can get in the right mindset, all of the prices that I mention in this video are going to be in pounds, and the exchange rate as of filming this video is £1 equals $1.35 US. One of the first UK brand displays that caught my eye was Max Factor. Max Factor did used to be available in the US, and then they disappeared for a long time, and then they had like a little bit of a comeback maybe 10 years ago, and then it seems like they disappeared again. And one product of theirs that I really wanted to try was their Miracle Touch Cream to Liquid Foundation. This is SPF 30. This is supposed to be a hydrating full coverage foundation. It has hyaluronic acid in the formula. It's supposed to be lightweight and brightening on the skin. It reduces redness and glides over pores, and it's non-comedogenic. Now, this is a product that I was able to swatch in the store, but mind you, this was about 2 months ago. So we'll see if this shade still matches me. It is Golden 75. Oh, this packaging also says it's supposed to float over skin without settling into pores and lines. I mean, this is making big claims. And it does come with one of these like spongy things, but I think I'm gonna use a brush. We'll see how it goes. I've gotten some comments recently about like not using the intended applicator for makeup, which is absolutely something that can affect, you know, how something works on you. But I just hate the feeling of these sponges on my face. I'm gonna go in with my BK Beauty 109 brush. Cream to liquid. I've never heard of a cream to liquid formula, only cream to powder. Oh, whoa. That was such a weird sensation. How strange. Okay, wait, actually, the shade's not bad. Okay, let me get back to the sensation. It just felt like it was melting into my skin, but it felt like cool on my skin. And just from the texture in the compact, I wasn't expecting it to feel so wet. That is super interesting. Okay, so far this brush is actually doing a really nice job blending it out evenly. Oh my goodness. I feel like if you know, you're watching this from the UK and you're familiar with some of these products, this is gonna be a little bit of a silly video because maybe this is super, super popular in the UK and obviously I just haven't heard of it before. Y'all are probably like, Miranda, we know. Wow, okay, I wanna see how it dries down. It's looking a little bit dewy, which I don't mind. What do you know? A shade that actually matches me pretty dang well because testers. I mean, at the same time, even if there are testers, you're not guaranteed a perfect match because it's always gonna depend on what the product actually offers. And as someone with a neutral undertone, it is very often that I have to kind of settle for a shade that's either a little bit too pink for me or a little bit too yellow. There are maybe 3 or 4 products, foundations that I've found that really, really do match me in shade and undertone. There's a L'Oreal True Match that matches me really well. The About Face foundation has a neutral undertone option that matches me really well. The Milani one, I think that might be it. So, you know, it's not something that I'm not used to. I'm really loving how this is blending over my skin though. It is definitely smoothing out my texture and my pores. And I did not put on a primer. I did put on my Shea Moisture Face SPF lotion, which is what I've been wearing underneath most of my foundations recently. And even when a foundation like this has SPF, because remember this has SPF 30, you are most likely not putting on enough foundation to actually get the full benefit of whatever the SPF in it is. It's nice to have that extra layer, and it's definitely nice if you're touching up throughout the day to have that SPF, but even if your foundation has SPF in it, you really should be putting sunscreen underneath. The other thing is I don't really feel like I put on a super heavy layer, and I definitely went straight to full coverage. I had a little bit of a blemish right here, pretty much completely covered. I had some discoloration right here, almost completely covered. I had a facial earlier this week, and she did extractions, which is always like, it gets worse before it gets better, you know, when they're squeezing stuff out of your skin. For the most part though, I feel like my skin has been clearing up a lot. Certainly don't need this much coverage on like a daily basis, but I am impressed. I'm just gonna take a clean brush and kind of pat at the surface to pick up any excess product. And this also kind of helps set it into the skin. Yeah, see, I definitely had some extra product floating around, floating over my skin. This is a beautiful finish. Okay, so someone in the UK, you might need to be my connection to like get refills of this. So I'm not sure how many of these products are actually available to purchase in the United States. Sometimes with makeup like this, they only have retailers that ship to the UK. Now this is $15.99 in pounds, so I think that makes it over $20 in US, which, I mean, to be honest, look at where we are in the US in terms of new foundation launches being very close to $20. I won't speak on the price until I know how it performs. The next brand that I was honestly confused to see in Superdrug was Avon. I've only known Avon to be either an online brand or a person-to-person marketing brand, if you know what I mean. I had no clue that they were an actual drugstore brand in the UK. This particular product I was very excited to test out. This is the Avon Power Stay 72 Hours Long-Lasting Brow Tint. They call this a semi-permanent waterproof brow formula. Apparently, this can last up to 3 days without fading or smudging based on a consumer science study of 101 participants. But the brand says you can remove it easily with an oil-based cleanser anytime before that if you're not trying to wear it for 3 days. I'm really hoping it doesn't last for 3 days in case I don't like it. And Avon is cruelty-free and Leaping Bunny certified, FYI. So this looks like a dip eyeliner. It is like a liquidy, maybe moussey formula. Wait, I need to look at the directions for this before I just go in. So I paid £9.50. Shake well before use using the spoolie. What? It says using the spoolie, fill your brows using light strokes. Add layers to build your desired look and use an oil-based makeup remover to remove product. Okay, well, that is not what we call a spoolie here in America. Okay, I'm kind of nervous about this. I've mentioned before because, you know, liquid brow products have become a little bit more popular here in the US, mostly in the form of pen style brow products. And I've never really been able to get the hang of it. So that's why this is doubly intimidating for me. So far though, it's kind of more of a tint. Like it's not coming off really dark or markery, which I appreciate. Here, I'll swatch it for you so you can kind of see. Yeah, it's definitely sheer. Okay, let's get the front, which is always a little bit difficult for me because I don't have a lot of hair in front. I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like this is going better than any other liquid brow product I've tried, and that is because it's so sheer. So I don't feel like I need to go in and soften it up at all, especially in these areas where I literally have no hair and it's just product on skin. It looks way more natural than some of the liquid brow products we have in the US where they might as well be liquid eyeliners. Is there anywhere in the US where Avon is sold in stores? Let me know in the comments if you're aware of that. I know you can buy it online without having to go through one of their independent sellers, which is nice, but it is nice to be able to just pick it up because the prices have always been on the drugstore level. I used to talk about Avon like at the beginning of my channel because they were so affordable. I'm really liking this. Oh, I wonder if this is available in the United States, like on the Avon site. If they last well through like sweating and I don't have to worry about them smudging, I'm into it. That looks awesome. The color, mwah. I got, what was this, soft black, but it does not look super stark against my skin. I was just talking about this in my previous video. It's really hard for me to find the right brow color for myself because my hair is such a dark brown and it's like a cooler brown. Most dark browns, way too chocolatey, and then a lot of blacks look like Sharpie. The fact that this is kind of like a taupey black and it's on the sheerer side really just works well for my complexion and coloring. Now, Superdrug does have their own brand of makeup. It's called Studio London by Superdrug, and I picked up a few things from this brand because the products looked super trendy and the prices were very low. So starting out, I got their Flaunt Flawless Bronzing Stick. This was only £5. It claims to be lightweight, blendable, and long-lasting up to 12 hours. Studio London is all vegan and cruelty-free, if I read that correctly on their website. I got the bronzer shade in Suede. Now again, when I swatched this, it was in May, so I think that should still work for me. Looks a little bit yellow based, super creamy. Yeah, I think that's a good shade for me. It's definitely not pulling orange, that's nice. I don't remember how many options they had of this. Ooh, that's blending really nicely into the Max Factor foundation. I'm gonna be like super glam and snatched today. Yeah, that's blending really easily. Okay, that just melted into my skin. I also picked up the Studio London by Superdrug Flaunt Flawless Blush Stick. This has all the same claims, up to 12-hour wear. This is in the shade Blushing Berry. That's pigmented. I'm using the same brush that I blended the bronzer with just to sort of marry the two together and also soften up that pigmentation because that looked like it was about to take over the look. These formulas are great so far. No patchiness, and they're blending easily enough that I don't feel that I'm tugging the foundation out of place underneath it. This is a nice shade that's gonna be great for fall too, and just like the transition from summer to fall. This is definitely a natural finish. It is not dewy by any means, but there is just the softest bit of radiance to it so that your skin doesn't look flat. Y'all, I'm jealous. These are great products. For £5, dang, my skin is looking good. I didn't pick up a UK highlighter, so I am gonna use my ColourPop Light Sticks in Glazy, just a little bit on the top of the cheek. The foundation is drying down to be a little bit rosier than I anticipated when I swatched it in the store because obviously I'm not sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for the swatch to dry. But yeah, I can definitely see on my neck, it's kind of a little bit either darker or rosier. What do you think? Before going into the eyeshadow palette that I picked up at Superdrug, I am just gonna quickly prime my lids. I'm using the Profusion Pigment Base. This was a rediscovered favorite from my last video that I really wanna start using more. A little goes a long way though. I feel like I always over apply. For my eyeshadow, I picked up a palette from W7. This is their Whipped Dreams palette in Blushing Gray. I just loved this color story. I feel like we are so lacking in the cool shades department when it comes to drugstore shadows. So when I saw this, I was like, this one, immediately. First, I'm gonna dust this light pink shade all over my lids. Now, W7 is interesting because I have seen them here in the US, but the availability is always very limited. Like, I feel like I see them in places like TJ Maxx or Marshall's. They're available in some Walgreens locations, but it's like one in my entire city and they only have like 4 items in store. Next, I'm gonna go into this sort of dusty pink mauve-y shade, but this is labeled both vegan and cruelty-free. I feel like I used to get W7 confused with the Boots number 7 brand because we do have number 7 in our Walgreens. I think Walgreens and Boots is like the same company now where they have a partnership. I did go to a Boots in Edinburgh as well. It certainly was not as beauty focused as Superdrug though. It was for sure more of a pharmacy with a beauty section, and they did still have testers though. So even they're more like run-of-the-mill drugstores, in my opinion, better than ours. I really want to see what this marble shade looks like. Oh, whoa, that's like creamy. That's pretty. Oh, do we want to do like a smoky eye today with that? I do feel like that's what this this palette lends itself toward, is more smoky, cool toned looks. Interesting. What a vibe today. I have nothing on my schedule today that warrants this glam of a look. I kind of want to top it in the middle with this silver shimmer. Pretty. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm gonna dip into this darkest brown. It's almost like a grayish brown, and use that as my powder liner to finish this look. I feel like this shade isn't super, super pigmented, which for what I'm using it for is not the end of the world. I just wish that it was a little more opaque, but it's buildable, so you know, it's workable, it's workable. I think also because it's not like a true black, it's maybe even more of like a charcoal shade. That's why I'm kind of perceiving it to be less rich. So far the eyeshadow palette's okay. It's kind of like run of the mill. I'm not like blown away by the formula or anything. I do have one other thing to try from W7 that I picked up, but this is all right. I think what it really does add to my collection though is just more cool tones, and seeing that as being featured at the drugstore got me really excited, but it's not bad by any means. Don't get it twisted. I also just realized, I'm looking at the receipt here, I only paid £4 for this. So for £4, 9 shades, knowing that the quality is good, the value is great. Next, I have another product from Max Factor that really blew my mind. I had never heard of something like this. This is their False Lash Supreme Mascara. This is a refillable mascara. So this is £15 when you buy it new, but then you can get the refills for about 10. And not only can you refill the actual product itself, let me figure out how to do this. Oh, so you just push from the bottom, you get a new plain tube of mascara and you can put it in this really pretty packaging. You can also switch out the brush by doing the same thing, pushing. So if your brush gets worn out, it's not, you know, separating like it used to, you can swap out the brush as well. Interesting concept, right? Now, as far as this actual mascara, interesting claims. It's clinically proven to make lashes appear thicker and fuller in 4 weeks. It's volumizing and has a lash conditioning formula with keratin in it. Let me curl my lashes first. It says volumizing, but it does not say anything about length. Volume is not typically the thing I'm most concerned about when I'm doing my lashes. I feel like I have dense lashes, they're just short and straight. Now this brush, I think, is silicone. It doesn't seem to be as hard as your typical comb brush. It has some flexibility. Yeah, I think it's silicone. Ooh, I like this. It's keeping my lashes pretty wispy, at least for now. Let's see how much we can build it up. I, in general, feel like the US could be so much better about refillable beauty products. I did a YouTube short and like an Instagram reel recently about a bunch of refillable skincare that I've found in places like Target. Like La Roche-Posay has skincare refills, Avon, Cetaphil. I feel like they're starting to become something that, you know, consumers are demanding, not only for, you know, sustainability, but also price. Because when you buy the refills, it's typically cheaper. Pause. My lashes look incredible. And it's adding a lot of length without making my lashes droop. Is UK makeup just better? What? How am I gonna get refills of this? I'm like panicking about all the products that I'm really liking so far. Like, wait, how do I get this again without flying to the UK? This is exactly why y'all never hear me talk about limited edition products. I mean, like I do once in a while, but it's really why I stay away from a lot of limited edition collections, because why am I gonna do that to myself? Why am I gonna fall in love with a product that I'm not gonna be able to get again? I will say though, you know, every so often I get comments from y'all, whether even from our neighbors in Canada, where you'll comment on something that I'm reviewing and you're like, they won't ship to me, or this isn't available here. I get it, y'all. I get it. If this does not flake, I'm gonna be in love. Next, I have another product from the Superdrug brand, Studio London. I got their Power Pout 12-Hour Precision Lip Liners. I have 3 shades with me. I'm trying to figure out which one is going to match what I've got going on. Maybe Power Brown. Ooh, I like this. Okay, wait, first of all, this is a sharpenable pencil, and there are definitely pros and cons to a sharpenable lip liner. However, they're always gonna give you the most precise line if you're able to sharpen them to a good point. Now, this is gliding onto the lips really easily, but it's a bit of a stiffer formula than a lot of the creamy ones we've been getting, at least here in the US. Like those lifter liners are really creamy. Even the ColourPop liners are really creamy, to the point where they're almost like a lipstick in a pencil, which is fine, but I don't feel like they stay on as well as a stiffer liner formula. I love this brown shade. It's cool toned. Another thing that's hard to find, and it does seem to be workable in terms of blending. Ooh, my lips are a little chapped. Should have exfoliated. Let's top this off with a freebie that I got. So because I spent over 15 pounds from Max Factor, they gave me this for free. It's a full-size tube of their Miracle Pure Lip Enhancer Conditioning Tinted Balm. This has tripeptide and jojoba oil. This is usually $10.99 in pounds. There's another clinically proven claim on this. I noticed that a lot of the makeup that I picked up, is this just a UK thing in general? You'll have a lot of your products clinically proven to back up the brand's claims. And I do feel like this is becoming a little more normal in the US. Like I know Milani just did a clinically proven test for their plumping balms. It's just not something that you see as often as I saw with the products that I picked up. But this is clinically proven to deliver up to 85% more hydrated lips and to make your bare lips feel rejuvenated after just 2 weeks. I am curious to see if this is going to break down the lip liner though, because it is oil-based. Oh, I don't know if it's supposed to look like that. It kind of looks separated, no? There's like a lot of clear liquid coming out and then just like a little bit of tint. Does that look right to you? Okay, wait, now I'm pushing it out and I'm getting more like pigment. So maybe it just separated from sitting. It's kind of icky. I'm gonna try to keep it toward the center so that way if it does kind of blur the lip liner, which it does look like it's doing, you can keep it away from the outer line so that my lip liner doesn't start feathering. I think this is definitely a product that I should have worn by itself and not necessarily over the lip liner, which is probably removable by oil. But the way that it's separated definitely kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, I'm gonna finish this look off with the W7 H2O water-based loose powder. This was only 5 pounds. This is supposed to leave the skin feeling cool while minimizing the appearance of pores. And I don't know if I've ever tried a water-based powder. What does that mean? I did look at the ingredients and it definitely had silicone in it. Gonna pick it up with a powder puff. Now, I'll be honest with you, this foundation has really set to a nice natural finish that I wouldn't necessarily want to add too much powder to. I really like the way that it's kind of naturally radiant. It does not look dewy by any means, but I am gonna powder under my eyes and around my nose, basically my T-zone. The areas where makeup often does separate or start looking a little funky on me. Wait a second. How is it? It does feel cooling on the skin. How is it doing that? What is this magic? Weird. I can feel the coolness. Because I have so many products on my face that have different long wear claims, I am gonna be doing a wear test today, especially because it's supposed to hit 106 degrees today. Perfect wear test weather, don't you think? So far, I have very positive first impressions about nearly everything I tried today. Alrighty, so here is the current time. I will check back in with you a little bit later. Well, it definitely beat the prediction. It is 1:10 out. I'm out and about running errands and I've been checking in throughout the day. I am definitely seeing foundation breakdown in like the bend of my nostril, which is the oiliest spot on my face. I don't know if maybe I just didn't set it well enough with the powder, but yeah, definitely getting some breakdown. Everywhere else still looks very smooth. The coverage is hanging in there. I'm also noticing a little bit of smudging. Do you see that with the mascara? Because I didn't put on any eyeliner, so that is a bummer, but the actual lashes still look great and there's been no flaking. So I'm gonna keep going about my day and I will check back in with you later. All right, y'all, it has been a long, hot day, as you saw in the last clip. I was bouncing around town today, definitely worked up a sweat from merely going outside, and it is currently 8:36, so what does that make it? About an 11-hour wear test? Before this final check-in, if you're enjoying this video and you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you considered subscribing and turning on video notifications by clicking the bell. But if you're already part of the Slashed Squad, thank you so much for joining me again, and hitting thumbs up tells YouTube to show this video to more people. Now, during the last check-in, I did point out that the foundation was separating in my nostrils, and at the time, I was also actively sweating. sweating. Now that I am not sweating and I'm inside in air conditioning, things seem to have settled down a little bit. Like there's definitely a disturbance with the foundation, but it doesn't look super, super crazy. I think I could have done a little bit better of a job powdering, because in other areas in my T-zone, like my forehead, the foundation looks totally fine. It doesn't look disturbed at all. It pretty much looks freshly applied, and it has not creaked or creaked? It has not creased or cracked in my expression lines. Not on my forehead, not in the 11s, and not in the laugh lines. That is a feat. The coverage is still going very strong. I am seeing a tiny bit of hyperpigmentation and some redness from blemishes poking through at this point in the day, but I am still feeling very, very much covered. With that said, I think as a whole, this foundation does look kind of heavy on my skin. And it could be that I'm just not used to how like a full coverage foundation looks on me anymore, because I've been, wearing a lot lighter complexion products recently. I think next time I apply it, I might use a damp blending sponge. Not the one that came with the foundation, but like a regular beauty blender, just to kind of work it in thinner layers. But here's the thing, it doesn't look cakey. It just looks like I have a lot of makeup on. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I think if I just tweaked my application a bit and then set my nose a little bit better, this is an incredible foundation. Now, with the exchange rate, it is about $20 for a drugstore foundation, but I mean, this performance is pretty impressive. What do you think? Now, I also pointed out in the car update that the mascara was smudging, and I will say that I'm also noticing some slight transfer to my brow bone on both sides, and you can just see a little bit of that black smudging underneath as well. I don't know what to do, because I really love the fact that my lashes are still like lifted and lengthened, and I love the look. And again, no flaking. I'm curious if I wear this on a day that I'm not sweating as much, because it didn't claim to be sweat proof, if maybe I'd get better results, but my lids are really oily regardless, so it might not be a match for oily lids. Speaking of smudging, the brows are still looking great. The sweat has not seemed to affect them at all, but now that we're at the end of the day and I'm about to take my makeup off, I do want to kind of rub at them a bit. What? Excuse me? Nothing came off. Oh, I like this. I need to find out if US Avon sells this product. Let's do it again. Clean fingertip. I'm sorry. I'm shook. That's crazy. I don't think one brow product that's been released in the US in the past like 5 years, maybe, has impressed me as much as this one. Okay, that one's going on the list of products I need to figure out how to get in the US. The blush and bronzer sticks looking impeccable. Totally smooth, totally intact. I don't feel like the color has faded at all. Absolutely beautiful. And as far as the lips, I clearly don't have very much lip liner left, if anything. There was a little bit in the car clip, which was about 4 hours ago, but after I ate dinner and then had a mango, which was like very lip intensive, most of it came off. But I will say that throughout the day I did not notice any feathering, which was nice. So I'm gonna continue to test those lip liners because I really liked the shades. If you're outside of the UK, I wanna know which of these products you would want to come to your country. But if you are from the UK, I wanna know, do you use any of these products? Are any of them your favorites? Tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you wanna keep watching, join me over in this video next. I'll see you over there. Bye.